Okay, we are now live.
Good.
Okay, do you want to transfer it back, Phil?
I will, yeah.
Are we off?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay,
Yep.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Wednesday Night Live. Tonight we welcome Melvyn Bentley, and his story is Making Dreams Come True. Now, actually, that is what his lovely wife, Marsha, still says after more than 50 years of wedded bliss. Melvyn's other lovely family consists of sons Lee and Jason, their wives Danny and Charlotte, and of course the gorgeous granddaughters Jade, Lucy, Jessica and Gabriella. Melvyn was co-founder and director with Tony Page some 30 years ago. They had the honour of catering at Buckingham Palace, strictly kosher of course, where Her Majesty the Queen entertained the Israeli ambassador and more than 250 dignitaries of all religions. Just a little bit closer to home, Melvyn, you probably don't know, but Melvyn became the first chairman of Edgware United Shul, together with Erwin Plassett, who was vice chairman, and together with his family, have been members in our shul for almost 50 years. Oy vey, they're still there. So, just before we start, this is a very easygoing chat. You can interrupt us at any time to ask questions, either in the chat room or the virtual hand in the participants box, or just wave. So, Melvyn, we've got a lot to chat about.
David, can I just make an observation before
Yes.
you start? When I was first approached many months ago, I was promised a substantial check. I was also told that the chef, Jamie Oliver, was going to interview me. And also there was some mention of someone from the shul coming to adjust my mezuzah. Well, I realised the check must be in the post because it's been told to me before when people have owed me money. I'm thrilled, honestly, David, that Jamie's younger brother is here to do it. And as for the mezuzah, I've sorted that out myself. So really, you want a clean slate, David, except for the check.
No. There's actually when you leave your home, yeah. There's a brown envelope.
Yes,
with
that was the story I heard before.
Which
yeah.
we can't really discuss at the moment. But...
No, understandably.
So this is. I want you to interrupt us at any time to ask questions, either in the chat room or the virtual hand or in the participants box, or just wave and one of us will pick you up.
Can I interrupt there, David? Please, if I would ask you not to wave, to use the virtual hand, because we won't see, because we're on speaker view only, so we won't see the waving hands.
Oh, so just
the virtual hand.
Yes,
yeah.
if you go into the chat box, there's something that says virtual hand. You just click on.
Not the chat box, participants.
Yeah, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Thank you.
Anyway, so we've at last got to Melvyn, and we've got a lot to talk about. So why don't we start when you left school at 15? And I thought, but what I remembered.
Tell me.
You were going to be an accountant, weren't you?
Correct. And that was at 16. And I did, on the basis of the careers master telling my parents how wonderful I was at maths, they encouraged me to go into accountancy. The very first job that I had, I'd only been there 2 days. They sent me to a company called Lyons Brothers, who made Triang toys, and they were based in Belfast. I was 16 years of age, got off the plane and saw all these women with rollers in their hair waiting to go to the factories. After a week of being there, I came home, and the same company acted for Mecca. At that time, Mecca did all the bingo halls, and they kept sending me all around to these bingo halls until I found one day one of the accountants on the bingo hall fiddling to such a degree that he definitely didn't want me around anymore. And that was almost the end of my accountancy life, until I bore the courage to go to my parents and say, you know, I don't think this is for me. I'm making it sound like, they said, well, what else would you like to do? It was nothing like that in the conversation, I promise you. But I always had this penchant for property. And so that's where my path led me to an office in Willesden Green. And that's where Marcia came into my life 50 years ago. And that's my lead from having left school. I can't hear you now. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you keep me unmuted? I won't do anything, don't worry.
Don't worry, I don't mind what you do.
Anyway, so you then went into property.
Yeah.
And did very well. And I know that you did have a major tragedy, didn't you, with your partner, Laurie Gilbert?
Yeah, who was a friend of yours, funnily enough, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah, we met him on the beach, and got
yes,
with him.
He met a lot of people on beaches.
The only people who didn't know was you, actually.
No. No, but he had a tragic car accident, and that really pulled me off of building, because we were doing a lot of building at the time, and he was mainly the builder, and it really shook me terribly. It was an absolute shock.
Well, he had a wife and family, didn't he?
Wife and two boys, two lovely boys. Yeah, she moved to Australia straight away, his wife, and the boys carried on here, where I've maintained a trustee relationship with them.
Oh, yeah. But you continued in property at the time.
Yes.
And then what happened? You didn't go into the schmutter business, did you?
No, I was very, very tempted, but I think you seem to monopolise the whole of that business, you and Philip Green. So I thought there was no point in me trying to compete with that. So I'd been friendly with Tony for several years, and he just came round to the house one day and he explained what the position was with the company he was in. And we had a chat, and that really led to me getting involved in the catering. He wanted to get going, and like many people, when you want to start up, he didn't want to get going alone. And somehow I was there for him at the right time, and we got together, and we started in a garage in Maida Vale, which we used as a storeroom. I can say it now because the landlords never knew at the time, but even if they know now, it won't create a problem. And that's where we used to store everything, and we did the washing up there. And the first job was at Claridge's. It was a job, funny enough, for a non-Jewish family who we'd done a lot of work for in the past, and that really kicked it off. The next thing that really happened, which took the company to the next level, was the Sultan of Brunei owns the Dorchester, and the general manager there one day phoned up and said, would I be prepared to come along and have a chat with the representative from Brunei? So I did. He never spoke about anything else other than religion. We seemed to chat for 20 minutes, half an hour. That was the end of it. And I thought, well, that was odd. The next morning, the general manager rang up and said, will you become the exclusive caterers at the Dorchester, the kosher caterers? And that really took the company into orbit, because there we are, with a license to do the top of the market, branded weddings, bar mitzvahs, parties, of which we have done hundreds and more since then, and a lot of the main charity functions there as well. It's been a wonderful, wonderful support mechanism. The hotel have been amazing, and we've produced some amazing work there.
And you're still obviously, well, as possible as you can be at the Dorchester.
Yeah, well, now, of course, the thing has changed, but the charities got bigger and bigger. And a lot of them we did in the great room of the Grosvenor House. And when, I know you said before it was the ambassador, but when the president of Israel came over, we were invited to do the catering for the Jewish content, which was probably the most interesting situation, because Buckingham Palace give you a corner of their kitchen, and the chef, together with our chef, divides a menu that you wouldn't know which plate was kosher and which wasn't. Every plate looks identical. Their staff serve them, and our staff were allowed to serve. There was about 150, including at that time was Tony Blair was about to be the Prime Minister. And there was a lot of dignitaries, and the Queen had been given 5 years earlier the most amazing wine by Israel. And she said that she would like that wine served in honor of the President of Israel. It's a remarkable evening. I mean, Buckingham Palace has its own pub for the staff, and she comes down an hour herself beforehand, and she measures every part of every table, and that which doesn't fit to the millimeter gets taken off and relaid. It was quite exceptional.
And that was with the Dorchester.
No, that was at Buckingham Palace.
Oh, that was.
And that was because of the no. I just think that was actually because of the Beth Din. They felt they needed someone with the right hechsher and with the right brand and with the right quality. And at that time, they thought that was us.
Yeah, there was muzzle.
Fantastic evening.
But
really.
when you went to the Dorchester,
yes,
that was before they took it over. I thought that they'd taken it over while they were in whoever's hands they were here.
So sorry, what was the Brunei? You mean?
Yeah.
No, Brunei bought it from the McAlpine family before we ever got involved in the hotel. And they had a general manager called Ricky Obertelli. And it was Ricky Obertelli really that initiated us going in. They were losing so many Jewish jobs, the hotel, because of the Arab connection, and people just didn't want to do it. So they thought they would do something significant, which would draw the Jewish clientele back into the hotel. As it did seem to do. I mean, they've got an amazing Jewish clientele now. 99% of it is us.
What at the dining rooms?
In the ballroom, and other rooms. They've got the most gorgeous penthouse there for anyone who's ever been up there. It's got the most wonderful views, and we made some exceptional parties up there. And we've had some exceptional brides who stood there and had their photographs taken up there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We had one bride. She turned up, and there's a company called Lord's Cars. She had the most massive dress I've ever seen in my life. We couldn't get her out the car. So the dress was just much too tight. And there are 3 lifts at the Dorchester. The first lift came down. I knew I could never get her in it, could never fit her in. I said, no, we have to wait for the bride's lift. So we waited for this bride's lift. Fortunately, the bridegroom was very, very thin and quite small. But this dress was ginormous. It was like one of those gypsy dresses. And I stood in one corner of the lift, he stood in the other. When I got to the top where she was having the photographs, the father came to me and said, Melvyn, can you just make sure no one picks her up and carries her or does anything like that? Sure, I said, of course. Anyway, within 2 minutes to get in there, she was jumping on the stage. This dress was flying everywhere. People were trying to pick her up, put her down. I'd love to see the video. I never got the opportunity to, but I would love to.
Did it go ahead though in the end?
Oh, she became the head of the, what do they call it? The head of maternal life at one of the main hospitals in London.
Oh, really?
She never wore the dress again.
But you must have, because obviously because you're dealing with Jewish people, us lot. We can be difficult at times, especially when it comes to money.
Do you know what the biggest problem is? The biggest problem is the anxiety, not the money. Not the money.
Anxiety from you or from them?
No, anxiety from them within themselves. You know, it's something you said about making dreams come true. It's something they dreamt about for their daughter for how many years, God knows. And when they first arrived, they've got a combination of emotions, the excitement, the will to want it to be so special, and the belief in their mind that it's got to be wonderful for their daughter, for their new family, and for all their guests. And so that first half an hour is probably one of the most important times to get the people relaxed, to make them feel that they are going to have something special, which in the end they realise they do get.
Absolutely.
What do you want for £1 million?
Your prices have gone down a bit.
A lot.
I mean, Hey, presumably, I mean, you haven't got any, if anybody has got many simchas.
Well, funnily enough, we have, well, but we're only doing weddings for 15 people. I mean, we did a wedding 2 weeks ago for 15 people. Originally, it was going to be 300. Then it came down to 30. And now, of course, you can only have 15. So although we have got several, we did one at the Savoy 2 weeks ago now for 15 people. And the truth is, all it's doing is just sort of keeping everything alive and almost doing the clients a favor, because there's certainly no money to make weddings for 15 people. That's really why I've come on the program tonight, actually, to make an appeal. So thank you for leading me into that.
we actually do, at the end of the evening,
Yes.
we are sending some other little brown bags.
Yes.
Preferably, you prefer cash, don't you?
Yes, preferred.
If not, we
I
take.
don't know what the word is these days.
So, okay, so your main business was the Dorchester.
No, the Dorchester was really the start of it really crawling up, or more than crawling up, really jumping up. Claridge's was always a popular venue, and also the Hyde Park Hotel, that was also reasonably popular. But there were a number, and the Grove opened up and became popular. There's lots of the hotels that are just at the Dorchester. Really was the optimum at the time, because everyone knew the Dorchester. It was world famous, which is the reason the Bruneys bought it. Then they went ahead and bought opposite, which was the Playboy Club, and now they call it 45 Park Lane. They own that. We do some small parties there too.
Yeah. But all the stuff you do is kosher.
Everything, we do everything is kosher, but not only for Jewish people. And we do quite a bit of work in Downing Street, for example. But everything is kosher.
Yeah.
Can I jump in and ask a question?
Of course you can. Yeah.
The Royal Lancaster.
Yes.
What is that? I've looked at it, but it obviously doesn't say it's kosher, but I presume it is.
It is kosher. It's also under the Beth Din. What happened was, as I said a little earlier, we're doing weddings for 15 people. And to be honest, David, you can't continue doing that. So we just took a look at it. If we want to keep the staff and make sure the staff maintain their wages and their life, we had to do something. So we were looking around at what to do. And the Royal Lancaster have got a restaurant called the Island Grill, which had been empty for about a year. So we had a chat with the general manager there, and we said, look, what about if we do something with you as a pop-up, or maybe a few months? And they jumped at the idea. So we spent quite a lot of money, being honest, for a pop-up to make it really gorgeous. And it is gorgeous. And it's about 70 seats. We had a soft opening on Thursday. What has surprised us beyond everything else is there's an avalanche on a Sunday night, because we've only had one Sunday, of these ultra-Orthodox, which I didn't think they would go with the Beth Din, because often when they come to the dues, they won't eat the Beth Din food. But we have had a total influx of them, and they've all asked for foie gras, which is an expensive addition to the menu, but they've all seemed to go, and they absolutely have gone nuts for it, which is a good sign.
Which is great. Do they drink whiskey as well?
Lots of it, lots and lots.
But
that's where that Royal Lancaster come in. We used to cater there a bit. It's got a massive ballroom, but of course it's non-existent at the moment. And they've only got at the moment 8% occupancy of their rooms. So the thought of us being in there and bringing people in that would never think of the Royal Lancaster was a major magnet for them to draw us in.
Yeah. So how have you've been open now? What, for 2 weeks?
No, we opened Thursday. A soft opening on Thursday. We did Thursday. We did Saturday night. We did Sunday lunch, and last night. That's how long we've been going.
And you've had quite a few people in, because you haven't really marketed or advertised it yet.
The only place we've even mentioned it has been social media. Other than that, we've done nothing on it intentionally, because our chefs are not used to doing this. Our chefs are used to maybe even charity functions of 1,000, 1,200, but they're always the same dishes. With the option of maybe fish for those who don't eat meat. But here, whereas Mrs. Cohen at a wedding thought that the smoked salmon overtook the plate, she's looking at this and thinking that the plate overtakes the smoked salmon. So she wants to send it back. And the chef said, "What's this? Who sends things back?" So from this point of view, they're on a major learning curve as well. So we've cut the numbers down, which makes it look like there's a waiting list almost, but that doesn't exist unless it's lunchtime.
How many people does it hold?
70 inside and 20 odd outside.
What do you mean outside?
Well, there's outside space there as well for about 20 odd people. Several people, despite this cold weather, we bought blankets, special blankets, we bought hot water bottles. They would only eat outside. And some very nice eaters too.
And they're Jewish?
Not yet, but they will be now they've eaten the food.
Oh, I hope everything goes very, very well there.
Thank you.
You know,
there's 23 staff that feel the same as you. But it's exciting. It's something totally different, but it's kept everything alive. And that was one of the most important things, because otherwise we might have encouraged ourselves to mothball the company over the next few months and then just get going again whenever Boris says.
Well, you won't know until next week. I mean,
I don't think we'll know next week. I don't think he'll automatically make massive alterations. Yeah. And to be honest with you, in January, he might even decide to cut back down again.
Perhaps you'd like to put a vaccine on your menu.
We've got one. It's called chicken soup. And when they have the Canadloch with it, it's gorgeous.
You do chicken soup and Canadloch?
Sure.
Really?
It's a very popular dish.
It's
not popular for weddings, funnily enough, but it's very, very popular on this menu and very popular for people that ask us to do Friday nights for them. They like chicken soup, chicken chopped liver, egg and onion, lokshen pudding. They like all the wonderful signature dishes that every traditional Jewish person loves.
Yeah, but do you do Friday nights then?
To be honest, not by encouragement, but by clients that we do a lot of work for. You know, we provide the staff and the showma. You know, it's quite a number to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So where's
your brother Jamie? Sorry.
I was going to say, where is Tony?
Tonight he's holding the fort at the restaurant. You cannot run anything, and you certainly can't get it established without a boss there. As wonderful as the staff are, they can get into a corner. Once they're in a corner, they don't know how to quite get out of it. Whereas experience gets you out of those corners.
Yeah. That I can imagine. Are you opening another one?
Sorry?
Are you opening another one?
No, not yet.
I think.
But who knows? You know, if this lockdown, for lack of a better expression, carries on in its way, or the tiers change, maybe we will. We were offered so many restaurants, so many opportunities.
Really?
That the Royal Lancaster work best because it's almost like having a partnership with them. They've got all the technical staff on site. They've got a wonderful team, and their support has been exceptional.
Yeah. Strangely enough, I think I was married there.
Were you? Faye
Yeah.
Schneider.
Faye Schneider.
Yeah.
Well, she was a Tony Page of the Royal.
She was more than that because she also had a hotel in Bournemouth called the Majestic.
That's right. Yes.
And so she was like a hotelier. And what was her daughter, Shirley Davidson, who decided she didn't want to be involved in hotels anymore. So they sold the Majestic and they took a franchise at the Royal Lancaster. And they had a very good business there.
Yeah, it was. In those days, that Lancaster was the hotel, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was one of the main. Well, they dropped the name Royal. They've only just been allowed to use it again within the last year.
Yeah.
They were foolish. They just let the word Royal go. They lost a lot of premium business, and now they brought the name back again because they own other hotels. They own the Landmark as well.
Because I was only the son-in-law, so
You went along with it.
I just told
put your top hat on,
Lancaster,
dinner suit.
Why did they let the name Royal go?
They thought, wrongly, David, they thought that dropping it down would give them a wider business in terms of companies felt that the name Royal made it too majestic for them. But it was the other way. What happened was they lost a lot of business, and what they lost is the room rates. The room rates started to go right down because people thought, well, this is not so special, this hotel. But when they put this new general manager in, her name is Sally Beck, and the first thing she said was, we've got to get this name Royal back. But Kensington and Chelsea weren't very quick to allow that. They said, well, you let it go. We don't know whether we should allow it to be Royal. But they did, and it really has, I mean, not at this moment, because the virus has killed it to some degree, but there's no question about it. The quality of the clientele has increased since they put the sign Royal back up again.
Really?
But of course, they've lost out massively, as have all the hotels, from their conferencing.
Oh, they've got no conferences. But what they have done is they've introduced a virtual conferencing. I'm not sure how successful it is, but it just keeps the name rolling. They've had a few of these dues. I've watched one. I'm not sure that they work very well. And because, of course, there's no food to sell and there's no drink to sell. So they lose out, as you rightly say, they lose out massively in that respect. But having said that, every hotel in London at the moment are struggling. I mean, I was at the Savoy a few weeks ago. There was 6 of us in the dining room for breakfast. There's just not the business, not the tourism. And tourism is a massive part. And they've lost a lot of this conference business, as you rightly say. And they all rely on that during the week. But their loss has been some of the country hotels' gain, because the country hotels are doing unbelievably from Thursday through to Sunday. And they are doubling and trebling their rates and still filling the hotels with no problem at all. Whereas the central London hotels, well, they're absolutely hemorrhaging.
Yeah, I'm sure. Actually, what you were saying before about weddings only having 15 people. Of course, my daughter got engaged a few weeks ago.
Tried to let her get married with 15 people. Of course,
I was trying. I offered her £5,000 to get married now rather than next year.
You know what you should tell her?
She wouldn't take it.
Let me tell you what to tell her. It's very fashionable now, because Princess Beatrice had a small wedding, and she had a small wedding and she's royalty. So maybe that will influence her, plus the 5,000.
Maybe you could have a word with her.
I will, with pleasure. With pleasure.
See where we go with that. We'll talk about the wedding afterwards.
I agree.
Can we discuss discounts?
Yes.
We
can discuss anything.
It's David's wedding, but I mean, at least I was the introducer, so.
Yeah, no question. You're 100% right. That would definitely...
Perhaps you can explain to me. I've spoken to a few people, and why is it within different caterers there are different fees for kashrus? Why is there no standard fee?
I'll tell you why there's no standard fee. The Beth Inn charge by location. In other words, if you have the Dorchester, for example, they charge the premium, the top, and they adjust according to where it is, when it is, and how many showmers you need. For example, if we do a wedding or a party and there is a breakfast, at 12 o'clock they change showmers. So you have to pay double. And that showmer lasts an hour, because breakfast doesn't last for more than about an hour. But they have the rules, the Beth Inn. They're wonderful. I mean, they manage it on behalf of the Jewish community fantastically, but they become very expensive because a number of caterers over the years and butchers and that have gone into liquidation. And of course, they've knocked them. And they've put a lot of the showmers on furlough, but a number of the showmers that are around now, I mean, how long do you need a showmer for 15 people? You make a lunch, it's 3 hours. The showmer, it's not even worth their while for 3 hours to travel where they're traveling to. I mean, the arrangement we've got at the Royal Lancaster, we have a room for the showman to stay on Friday night. So if we do a Friday night dinner there and we do a Saturday night, he stays and we pay.
Yeah.
But that's why the things are...
So it's by location, it's not by anything else?
Sorry?
It's just by location, time and...
Well, yes and no. There are caterers that feel there's another margin in that. We've always been very transparent on that. We're totally transparent on the room hire that goes straight to the hotel and on the kashrut. because whatever the Beth Din want, we make sure they get. And that's, but a lot of caterers feel there's another pound a person in it, maybe 50p. You know, if you've got 150, 200, 250 people, that's another margin for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So watch out.
There was somebody, I know this might sound a bit strange.
Yes, I'm sure it will.
we are dealing with Yidla most of the time. Somebody said that you had, I may not get the exact thing right, but this is the gist of it, was that you were serving Brussels sprouts, which to me is a Brussels sprout.
We don't serve that anymore. We don't serve that. We don't serve asparagus.
Oh, you
not
don't?
to big weddings. We do serve it, but not to big weddings, because the showmans have got magnifying glasses and they're looking for the slightest little thing. Well, if they find one thing we have to throw, we give out instructions to our chefs. If they find one element of anything in anything, just chuck the whole lot. Well, how many times can you afford to throw asparagus away? Not very often. So we've stopped encouraging. If someone insists on it, we explain what the problem could be. And then they take that view. But there's not big demand by Jewish people for Brussels sprouts, except when they're with Goyim on Christmas Day, then they love them.
You do a big business there, couldn't you? No, it was just that somebody just said something on passing. I really didn't know. I can't remember ever having Brussels sprouts at a simcha.
No, you won't.
That's not something that I would remember, really.
No, you won't. You won't have had them at do's that we do. No, definitely not. Many years ago, possibly, yes, we did. But in the last 5-10 years, no, we haven't done it.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions out there? Can't see anything. Anybody waving? The art floor has got to something.
There's a question in the chat room for you, David. Well, it's not a question, but it's asking you to ask something. But
yeah, no, forget that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't mention it.
It was Lorraine's pad. Is Lorraine pad? Can we
just unmuted? Yeah.
Demute.
Yeah, let me unmute. Oh, there she is.
Hello. Especially Paul Rukin. Melvyn, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Can you hear?
I can hear and see.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, fine.
Good.
Thanks very much. I don't know if I missed the beginning. How did you, with Tony Page, how did you get together, the two of you? Were you friends originally?
Yeah, we were friends. And when Tony decided that Chevron wasn't working, because that's who he used to be with, and he wasn't working, he wanted to start on his own. Yeah, and the problem was, often you want to start on your own, but you're nervous to do it by yourself. So he came round to see me one day, and I thought about it for a couple of days and said, okay, let's go and let's see what. And as I explained earlier on, we started from a garage in Maida Vale.
Right.
Where we actually got
Lorraine and I got married in the King David.
King David, of course. Was that in the Chevron days?
First, even Chevron days, and it was the first do that Tony actually was allowed to take control of.
Oh, right.
We were his first, basically his first customers and such.
Oh, really? Really?
So
and you've forgiven him, I hope.
We loved it. No, he was fantastic. He was wonderful.
I'm sure you'll speak to him tomorrow. Send him our love.
Of course I will. I promise you I will.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll phone me later.
Well then tell him, send him lots of love.
Oh, thank you. Of course I will. Of course, that's very nice of you.
Is that
lovely to see you both?
Is that your surname, iPad?
Yes, no. Rukin.
I know, they're very funny, these things, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You must have met over the years, Melvyn. How many Jewish people have you met?
Thousands upon thousands. Because if you think about it, some of the charity dues now, the Great Room of the Grosvenor House, we're serving 1,200 people there alone. And a lot of the weddings now are 250, 300 people, some even 400, but a lot of them between 250 and 300. So if you think about the numbers, and that's over a period of 30 years, if there's any accountants out there, they'll be able to work that out very quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Me, I always seem to make mistakes on figures.
Yeah, but did you? How can I put it nicely? I mean, we're all Jewish, and we know
Yes.
that we like to do special deals.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
I'm sure one or two people negotiated with you occasionally.
Yes, occasionally is right.
But did you have any sort of good stories about it?
I have, but the first one that I would tell, I would get sued immediately, either by the revenue or by them. But you look, everybody, it's human nature, and it's even more human nature for Jewish people to feel that they want to benefit from a situation they find themselves in, and I'm the first to understand that.
Absolutely, but
I can't imagine you would, but most people do.
No. I mean, cash is something that I've never really dealt with.
No, nor me.
Which, it's not really in our blood, is it? But still. Any other wave handers out there? Catherine and Martin.
No, there's no virtual hands up here. Can't see it. Oh. By the way, there is somebody on here asking a question from HMRC.
Yes, I know him.
That's okay. He's on for David, not for you. Don't worry.
Thank God for that.
Catherine, if you can go into the chat.
It's all right, I'm unmuted.
Oh, great. Okay, you're on.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. We've got several funny stories to tell about simchas that we attended, but one particularly sticks out in my mind. We were at a table where the man who was sitting next to us was served his meal, and I think the style of the catering is called haute cuisine.
Oh yes.
So when the plate came,
that's a good description for small portions.
Yes.
Yeah, he turned to the waiter and he said, "What's this?" So the waiter said, "It's your meal, sir." He said, "This is my hors d'oeuvre. Where's my real meal?"
Yes.
He said, "This is your real meal." He said, "Well, get it out and just give me some proper food."
I can imagine that. I can imagine. My parents would have said that too.
Yeah.
I once took my father to a Chinese restaurant.
What is your style?
He said, "What is this?"
Cuisine?
No, we're more international because a lot of the guests at these dudes fly in from many countries, and so we try to be more international, but nothing like that. Our plates sometimes are a little bit too full, if I've got to say anything, but certainly not that sort of cuisine. It's never really, it went through a fashion, that cuisine, but not for functions, because everyone would think the host was very mean.
That's what it is. Have you had any particularly embarrassing incidents?
Many. People haven't liked where they've sat and wanted to walk out.
No, I mean really bad. We were at a simcha one time where when they came round with tureens of soup, and the waiter tripped, and the soup went down the back.
Oh my God! No, that hasn't happened to us. We did have one where the best man, not a catering problem, where the best man pulled out a gun. I thought it was a joke part of the thing. Well, the bride screamed. People got under the table. He said, "Take all your jewelry off." But he was joking, but no one knew he was joking. And that was very hard to get the party back on track.
After a few champagne cocktails, who
yes,
knows what a
everyone's
joke
very brave, aren't they?
Yeah.
No, none of the guests were that brave, I promise you.
You can ask whether.
I had an occasion at a simcha a few years ago. It was where I'd asked for a mint tea.
Oh, yes.
And when it was delivered to me, it smelt very odd. And when I tasted it, it tasted a bit odd. I called another waiter over. I said, "This isn't mint." And he said, "No, it's parsley. It doesn't taste very good."
Oh, dear.
Obviously, in the kitchen, he found something green and put it in the water.
Yeah. And he said they won't know.
Who was the caterer?
I don't know. Actually, I remember whose do it was, but I won't say.
No, don't say. Better not to.
Now Flora. Hi, Flora. She wants to ask.
I'm asking her to unmute at the moment. Flora, if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yes, okay.
There you are.
Okay. First of all, good evening, Melvyn.
Good evening to you. Good evening.
Happy Hanukkah. I actually, following on from the last question, I think they called it Nouvelle Cuisine. Now, I must say to you, the first time, yeah, that's right. No, because I'm not trying to drop names. One of my sons married at the Dorchester, and we had Tony Page and the whole works and everything. And I know it was very strange. It was quite a long time ago. It was over 20 years ago. And I think the guests were.
I also did your granddaughter's. I did your granddaughter's bat mitzvah too.
That's right. But why I'm asking you, I'm asking a serious question.
Yes,
because
please.
I agree with Catherine. It looks a bit mean or whatever. But you know, you have a very nice reception before. And to me, it's very good because they may charge the same amount of money. But to me, it's more important that we don't waste. And people do not waste because the food is presented so beautifully.
Thank you.
It's very tasty. And in some ways, is that not better? I'm asking you seriously.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, even sort of, I don't know if with monetary wise, if it's that's not. I'm in Israel at the moment. And I'm so tired. It's 10:30 or 11. I don't know what the time is.
Is it?
I go to bed 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm exhausted. So
wow.
There's a word. Is it profitable? I mean, it's obviously more profitable to.
Sorry, in what respect to do a big kiddush or not?
Nouvelle cuisine must be quite expensive.
Honestly, if I would say that receptions have evolved, fashionable food now are things like sushi, and people adore the reception. They've hardly eaten beforehand because they've come to a chuppah, and particularly when the chuppah is about 3 o'clock, they probably haven't eaten since breakfast time. So when they open the reception, they really are chalishing, as they say in French, to eat. But without a reception, really, you've got no party. It really does set it up because everyone has a drink in their hand. Everyone starts talking to each other. The atmosphere starts to build because everything before that's been very formal. The chuppah's formal. As much as they've enjoyed it, it's mainly enjoyed by the family. And once they get into the reception, and we have 2 rows of, as you know yourself from dues you've been to, Flora, that we have 2 rows of butlers waiting with trays of champagne and wine and drinks. And people come out, and once they've started to have 1 drink, 2 drinks, and eat some of the food, they love it. But we used to be serving things like salt beef, and we stopped doing that because people were absolutely full. By the time they got into the ballroom, they couldn't eat a thing.
Right. So that's my question. So is it not better, that nouvelle cuisine?
More canapes now. It's more canapes, and also the younger people drink a lot more. So more drinking than eating even. But a lot of canapes. People just a finger food, something they can put in their hand and put in their mouth. And sushi, absolutely, so fantastic in terms of the demand for it. So that when they get in, also the emphasis is not on big plates of food. It's on presentation of food and the quality of the food, and pacing it out too, so that they're not eating everything in one hit. A bit of dancing, a few speeches, and it makes the party much more successful. But you can't do a party without reception. You just need to pull everyone together at the beginning is the key.
Thank you.
Do you think that the simchas will come back like they were?
The truth is, I don't know. You know, I was away in Spain about a year ago, and I was in terrible pain in my leg. And someone said to me, which I've never forgotten, they said, when the pain goes away, you forget about the pain. And it may well be the same with the simchas. Maybe people will come back. I think there's a few hesitant points in my mind. One is, will the people making the bar mitzvahs have that sort of money? Because I think there's been a lot of economy problems over these last 6, 9, 12 months, whatever it is. And by the time they can have it back, maybe they just let the kids jump up and down, have a disco, have a burger, just enjoy it like that. It's a lot cheaper, and I'm sure the kids will have the best time. The weddings, I think some of our clients, unquestionably, because they are still ringing up weekly, saying, have we got any news? Do we know anything? They obviously think we have because we are under the kashrut, they think we have a direct line to the Almighty, but unfortunately we don't have that. So you can't tell anyone, you can't guarantee anybody when this is going to come back. I just don't know the answer to that. And I don't think we will know the answer, because I think that he'll drift slowly. Maybe he'll let 50 people, then 100, I don't think you'll suddenly jump into saying, have as many as you like. And so it's hard to know whether it'll come back as it was. I don't think the bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs will come back as they are, certainly not quickly. The weddings, I think there'll be a percentage that will and a percentage that won't.
Well, don't tell my daughter that.
I promise you I'm not going to.
She's convinced it will be back to normal next year.
And she may be right. And from her point of view, I hope she is right.
Can I just change the subject slightly?
Of course you can.
Just talking about you as chairman of the show.
Yes.
Why on earth would anybody want to become chairman of the show?
Well, can I tell the truth? I'm really pleased you asked that question, because I wasn't the most regular shul goer, David, at the time. You may have a different take on why you took the job on. And what happened was, two people approached me and said, from the board of management at the time, and said, look, would you come on the board of management? I said, oh, no, thank you. I don't think it's for me. And I'm not sure I can devote the time. And then they said to me, well, the real question is, will you become the chairman? We want to have a chairman at that time. And I said, look, if I don't want to be on the board of management, I certainly don't think I want to be the chairman. And also, I want to be totally honest with you, that I do drive on Shabbat, and I'm not Shomer Shabbat. And I think that would make a difference. Oh, no, we don't think so. We want you to be the chairman. So I took the job on until one day, I've been the chairman a year, and then they asked me to stay another 6 months, until I walked into shul one day. I shook hands and said to the man sitting in front of me, good Shabbos, how are you? He said, don't shake my hand. I said, oh, why? What's the matter? You're okay? He said, no, I'm not okay. He said, last week I had the flu. So I said to him, well, I'm so sorry to hear it. He said to me, that's your job, though. You should know. But that was the beginning. And I came home and said to Marsh, this is me and the chairman. We don't exist anymore. And that was really the end. I'm sure you have got similar, probably.
No, not at all. In fact, I understand he no longer has flu.
No, he apparently left last week.
He recovered last week.
Yeah. I gave him some antibiotics, and that was the end of it. Yeah, I did find a few, and also they were new to having a chairman. I think now what you do now, David, is much more important and much more communal minded to what I did when I did. I was relying a lot on Erwin Plessett, but he was relying more on me.
I rely on everybody.
Rabbi Rabinowitz on the time could be quite, how can I put it? He could be quite inflexible, because I had one case, and I was telling David actually a little while ago, that a woman phoned up and said to me, can I ask you something? So I said, sure. She said, I know you've got a meeting tomorrow night. I don't want the rabbi to be at my son's bar mitzvah. I said, you've got to be joking. He's the rabbi. I said, I'm not even sure I've ever seen you at the shul. Yeah, we do go. My son goes to Hebrew. I said, but we had an altercation with the rabbi. I don't want him there. So I said, well, that's not possible. She said, well, you'll have to make it possible. She said, okay. So anyway, I did decide to have a word with Rabbi Rabinowitz. And I said to him, Rabbi, I've had the most, anyway, I told him who they were, and I told him what she said. He said, Melvyn, he said, I think on this occasion, I will stand down. I'll have a break for the weekend. I said to him, I think it'll do you the world of good. But he said, but I want to tell you who I want to be the rabbi to stand in. I said, of course, you take over from here and do what you like. So came 12 o'clock. She must have known that I'd just come out the meeting. We went home. The phone rings. She said, well, what happened? I said, well, you're very fortunate. The rabbi was wonderful. He agreed to stand there. Okay, she said, well, I'm going to tell you who the rabbi is going to be. I said, well, I don't think you are. She said, oh, I am. I'm going to tell you who the rabbi will be. Anyway, in the end, I wouldn't allow that bit. And Rabinowitz found someone to stand in. They were never really that happy, and I've never seen them in the shul since.
It happens.
Absolutely.
It happens. It's different now. Nobody ever complains. You know what people
so
are.
I believe, and there's no Jewish people as members anymore, are there?
That's right.
But you're doing a great job, and genuinely everyone appreciates it, and particularly me, because I know what that job is.
Yeah. even for
you haven't lost your hair.
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
No, this isn't mine.
Oh, good. I'm pleased you said that.
Well, any other questions?
There's nothing here at the moment.
Wonderful.
No, your last chance. Okay. I mean, You can send letters into Lancaster Gate tomorrow if you've got any.
Together with menus.
Any questions? So
if anybody would like to, if anybody has a question, if you could wave a virtual hand, as I can't see anything here.
Mike Fisher, is that a wave, Mike? Mike Fisher?
I can't see any virtual hands. So there are no chats either. So
no, but Mike Fisher, Mike, can you demute yourself? Oh, he's gone, disappeared.
Who?
Mike Fisher. And he's upside down now. No, he's not.
No, there's only one here, Gwendolyn.
Oh, Gwendolyn, yeah. Okay.
She's the only one with a hand up. So
okay. Go on, Gwen.
Right. Can you hear me?
I can.
Just.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, I wondered, is there still call for Cardassia catering only? Are there people that just, insist on having it glatt kosher as opposed to your catering, which is, for just the straight normal bethed in?
Yeah.
Are there people that still insist on having glatt kosher meals?
Yes, I think there is a percentage, Gwendolyn, of people that still want to go down that road, unquestionably. And those caterers that are in that market, I'm trying to think of one or two that are, but those that are in it have still got a demand, and there is still a demand for it. Quite a few people from Hendon and that area.
Yeah.
Not so much from Golders Green anymore, because that's become a bit more cosmopolitan. But from Hendon, there certainly is, and in Stamford Hill, unquestionably.
Oh, really? And are there many glatt kosher caterers then?
Not many, no, I don't think.
Not many?
Because the percentage of demand doesn't encourage them to go into that.
Mm. Okay. No, thank you. Okay.
Pleasure. Nice to hear from you.
Colin, can you Colin, debrief yourself? Colin Lester? Hello.
Colin Lester. Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
Is he going to sing to me?
He will if he presses the right button. Colin, you've got to demute yourself.
Put his hand up, David, so we can't see him.
Can I do him?
No. Well, if I make you co-host, yes.
Hold on. How do you do that?
I think that's what it says. Virtual hand.
Colin? Where's he gone now? Go into participants and press the button there.
David, you can do it. I've made you co-host, so you can press ask on mute.
Hold on. No. Colin, you're on.
I'm glad you don't do my technical stuff on my shows, because if you did, I'd be down a lot of money, David, whoever's doing technical, because every time I push on mute, told me
you've got half an hour though, that's all.
I don't have the permission to do it. So whoever's doing technical, for God's sake, don't apply for a job.
This is my neighbour in Shul. I
just wanted to say, not really a question, Melvyn. It's an absolute pleasure listening to you. And I'd like to thank you on behalf of the wider community for never letting your standards drop and looking after Tony Page, because those who know him and you well know that Tony
you know too well.
Not only have you run an incredible business, but you've looked after Tony for many years.
Yes,
I don't think he'll give you anywhere near enough credit for that. So
thank you
for your standards, and I'll tell you how good Melvyn is at his job. Is whenever I've been to a Simcha that Melvyn has been the caterer at, as soon as I walk in, one of his staff come over, Melvyn will tell you the rest, and bring me my favourite drink. Diet Coke and ice.
Do you know something, Colin? With all the thousands of parties that I've done, the mitzvah for your son stands out to me at the Dorchester, stands out to me as amazing. What an amazing party. But you're amazing. What you've done with the community, I'd like to thank you for. And I know it's from your heart. And so I feel very strongly in the whole community saying a big thank you to you. You deserve it. And you're a very special man, and you have a wonderful family. So thank you so much.
It's your night, Melvyn, and it's great to see you up here. And I forgot that you'd been the chair of the shul.
Yes.
David, you got a lot to live up to, I suppose.
Have indeed.
It was.
You know what, Melvyn? I have to say,
Tell me.
You've got to feel sorry for David. It's a bit like being the Prime Minister during
Oh
COVID
my
times.
God.
You cannot win. So whatever David does, you have to feel sorry for him because you're not going to win.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Being chairman during COVID times, David, congratulations to you.
No, I'm the only chairman to have shut the shul down.
Yeah, well, in real terms,
Twice, David.
That's miraculous. So, you know, fantastic to you as well, David. Unbelievable.
Yes,
Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you.
Colin, a happy Hanukkah to you. God
And the
bless
same
you.
to you, same to everybody. Happy
Thank
Hanukkah.
you so much.
Right,
Thanks, Colin.
before we close down, I've just got one notification.
One credit
from
note.
our Hartmans. I can't see where they are.
Oh, yes. Yeah, lovely people.
Yes, hello, we can see you now. And what they have said is there are plenty of Cadacia, this is aimed at you, there are plenty of Cadacia caterers with a good demand for them. Quite a lot have both licenses and cater everywhere.
Wonderful.
So if you need anything like that, go straight to the Hartmans, and I'm sure.
And I know them, and I know the quality of their work, and I must say that they do an excellent job for anyone who wants to get one under their license. I promise you, they do wonderful work.
Interestingly, why do caterers determine or decide whether to go with the Beth Din, Cadacia, or Sephardi, and the direction on that?
For us, it was a case of the Beth Din were very supportive, and I think that certain caterers want to go to certain clientele. We knew that everyone that we'd want to cater for, the Beth Din would be acceptable to, so that we didn't need to go further afield than that. And what we did is we took on a Shoma as a director of the company to ensure that the Beth Din had representation in the company, so that everybody, certainly every client, could feel very comfortable, and every guest too, knowing that everything was 100% perfect. Yeah. But having said that, people look on to the Cadacia, and also the Beth Din now, their rates are very high, and some of the caterers don't want to pay the Beth Din, and I fully understand that too.
Yeah.
That's why you get that difference in you raised before with the Tatras rates.
Tatras rates, yeah. Okay.
Well, I think. Well, I've had a lovely evening. I hope you have.
Very much. Thank you so much, and thank you for being so easy on me. I'm just ashamed that your brother Jamie didn't take the chair to ask the questions. But I just want to wish you all a very happy Hanukkah. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and honestly, more than thank you all for keeping this community the way it is. I couldn't add any more, but really, once again, a massive thank you to you all. And I mean, doing this alone is, something that is keeping people together, and that's so vital at this moment since David's closed the shul down.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering actually, because I mean, all of our, shul should get back to normal. It might take a time. I mean, this is all the shuls.
It will take time.
And I'm just wondering, now that you're sort of, well, you've been with us for 50 years, and I have been to the odd St. John's Wood Kiddush, and I'm just wondering whether or not we'll emulate that in the future.
Well, can I tell you something? The members of St. John's Wood Shul pay $750 a year each to belong to that Kiddush club. Plus they pay one of our waitresses to be there for 4 hours. So I think the idea of emulating that, I would be happy to initiate it if you felt there was anybody that feels strong enough to have a little bit of chopped liver, chopped herring, and a fishball, and pay that sort of money. Because I don't
put £10. I would put £10 in to start the thing going. But the thing is, would you do the catering for us?
Yeah, it's not. We don't do any catering. We only send the food in.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We don't cater it, and the waitress just lays it out, and the people help themselves. And plus,
we accept.
Sorry.
We accept.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming this evening. Especially Melvyn. It's been quite.
Thank you.
Normally, our Wednesday evenings are
informative.
They're informative, and ours was more
chatty,
enjoyable. I mean,
chatty, bang, bang.
Very nice time. And don't forget the discounts. Apparently, you are giving everyone to discounts the first time they go to Lancaster Gate?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And yeah, so
Give it to me and
can you just give me any? Can you give me any indication of how long I should wait for the check? I mean, I don't mind waiting, and it doesn't matter when, but as long as I know. Because someone once said to me,
it will be close behind the last person gets the vaccine.
I like that. No, someone once said to me, better I owe you the rest of my life, Melvyn, than knock you.
Sorry, before you go, thank you very much, Melvyn. Could I just tell everybody that next week we have Rebetson Ilana Epstein from Cockfosters Shaw, soon to be, I believe, of Marble Arch. She will be speaking, as we all like to do over Hanukkah, about potatoes. From Kiggle through to Lutkas.
She's terrific. Really
Actually, that's probably more interesting than you think.
Yeah, it should be fun, and she's very much involved in science of food as well as eating the food. So it should be a nice fun evening.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely. But gentlemen, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, good night.
Thank you, Melvyn. Thank you, everybody who's on here this evening, for being here this evening. Wishing you all, thanking Melvyn, but also David for hosting this evening. To wish you all a happy Hanukkah, a good week,
plenty of donuts,
and a happy New Year as well.
Yes, that's
excellent. And may you all be well and healthy.
Amen. Stay strong.
Oh, I've got a very quick question.
Yes.
Very quick question.
No problem.
It just says, can I ask the Rukins something while I have contact with them?
I know what?
What?
I don't know. I don't know the Rukins, and I don't know. And that was
the Rukins. It sounds like.
Oh, the Rukins. I know the Rukins.
Rukins.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it depends if it's the ones that I'm thinking of from Hampstead.